It's a big step for the police to arrest arguably, sort of one of the most popular politicians in the country for a long time, somebody who has a big following. So they would not have done that decision lightly.
Ayesha, how surprising is this news?
I think people are quite surprised by it. I know some people are saying, oh, well, this is always priced in. I'm not sure if it was. I was up in Edinburgh just this week on Monday and Tuesday and speaking to some quite senior people from the SNP who had sort of hoped that this is kind of blown over now. And if the police was going to do anything, they possibly would have done it by now. People were telling me Nicola Sturgeon was sort of kind of slowly getting back to sort of her life, really, without the press being on the front of her house and things like that. She was starting to do a few more public appearances. So I think there is some surprise about it. And just speaking to some legal people up in Scotland, I suspect she will, well, we can't, prejudge any of this stuff. It may well be that she's released without any charges, but it's a big step for the police to arrest arguably, sort of one of the most popular politicians in the country for a long time, somebody who has a big following. So they would not have done that decision lightly. And it does show, I think, that this investigation is pretty serious.
I mean, I'm not quite sure exactly how it works, but could they have questioned her without arresting her? Or is it part of the legal procedure that they have to arrest you in order to question you?
I'm not a sort of legal expert, so I don't really know the exact answer for that. But I think, if they just wanted her in as a witness,
right, it would have been different.
Yeah, it would have been sort of, look, I think if you're arrested, you're a suspect you're connected in some way. They think you're not just been asked to come in and answer some questions to help the police. That there is a different angle to it being arrested. But we don't know everything, so I don't want to prejudge or speculate too much about the legality.
And do you think that this was all part of the reason that Nicola Sturgeon stood down quite surprisingly? I mean, she says not, but do you think that maybe that was in the back of her mind, that something like this might happen?
It kind of looks that way. I mean, she says it wasn't. We just sort of, re-looking at the interview that she did. Again, speaking to people very, very close to her, they are adamant that this wasn't a factor, that she didn't know that all of this stuff was coming down the track, that she genuinely had quite enough. She'd had quite a bruising time with quite a lot of things happening in politics, including the whole trans debate around the GRR, which had been pretty divisive. And I think that sort of took quite a toll on her as well. Obviously, Jacinda Ardern had resigned, and, people close to her will say, well, she looked at that and thought, well, actually, it's okay to sort of step back. That's their side of the story. That's what she is saying. That's what they are saying. But of course, a lot of people are just going to look at these arrests and go, nah, I don't know if that quite passes the smell test with me.
You're going to be covering this on your show. What are you going to be doing?
We have lots of good names coming. We've got lots of politicians. We've got the Labour Party is going to be represented by Ian Murray. We have the leader of the Scottish Liberal Democrats, Alex Cole-Hamilton. We're also going to have somebody from the Scottish Conservatives. We've got a number of Scottish commentators coming on. So we're going to do this in quite depth. And we also have our Sunday political panel, and we have an SNP MP on that as well. Gosh,
it's going to be jam-packed. Ayesha, thank you. We're going to see you in a few minutes or so. Ayesha Hazarika here will be bringing you more on that story that Nicola Sturgeon has been arrested by Scottish police over SNP Finance's investigation.